If it was going to show up, we're live.
No. Yeah.
We're live, sir. Are you doing, sir,
Thank you.
Chairman?
Pleasant good night once again.
Good night.
Good night to our Belizean, both at home and abroad, and to all those around the world who view us now and will view us a little later. Pleasant good night, and we thank you always for your support. You know, sharing our programs. Thank you. Um, that means that you know many others will get to see and understand what's really going on in Belize. you know um, we try to be as clear as we can and as truthful as we can as to what's really going on in the nation of Belize. And again, a pleasant good night. I wish uh Mr. Let's see, Egbert Greenwich, happy birthday, belated birthday from Miss Sharon Pitts. And Leonard, a happy belated birthday to you, my brother, from Miss Sharon Pitts.
Thank you very much again, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ms. Sharon Pitts.
Yes,
And
yes.
happy birthday, Mr. Greenwich.
Mr. Greenwich, happy birthday to you, sir. May God continue to bless you and with many, many, many more birthdays, sir. Thank you. Leonard, it's a pleasure sitting with you on Blessed Wednesday, my brother. And hopefully we will
Mr. Chairman.
be joined by our very own Mr. Gregory Brackett, our Q-up guy that, behind the scene, always show and tell, and we should be joined by Mr. Gregory Morrison as soon as he gets to his location. He will tap into the program and join us. And welcome to our Belizean Affairs show number 405, Leonard. 405.
Wow. We made it.
We were dragging that 300, Leonard. We were dragging that 300, and whoops, on the way we are at 400.
Right.
400 and
as quick as that.
As quick as that.
Thank God.
Time waits for no one, sir.
Thank God for the privilege.
And there's a lot going on, Leonard. Always, not only seen by us, but seen by many Belizean around the world and seen
in the UK,
worldwide.
In Europe,
yes, sir. Thank you.
In Australia,
yes,
Canada.
Yes.
Those are just some of the names, no?
Yes.
Oh, and Japan too,
Yes, they get to.
I don't know if it's Japanese, but I'm not sure how they understand how that thing has some Belizeans out there.
Yes, they get to
local people.
They get to see, what's really going on, Leonard, because we don't, and get to hear because we don't dissect the truth. How can you dissect the truth? The truth is the truth, How can you dissect that?
We don't have no sugar tongue.
No, we definitely not.
So that's sugar it up.
Yes, so it's a pleasure, my brother, to always sit in your company, my brother. Thank you for holding steadfast. Thank you very much because it takes a special person to do what we do, Leonard. Special.
Yes,
and especially in a way too that we are not getting paid like others.
Well, I'll let
not even a little drop in the bucket.
You know, man, if I break committee and rebut the statement that say we're not getting paid, right? Because I think I'm getting paid. I'm very happy every time I'm on this program. I'm being paid with the kindness and the love and the care and the interest and the connection and the motivation of the people.
Exactly.
I love it. I enjoy it.
Exactly.
So to me, it's worth more than money because sometimes money can't buy your help. Something like this now keep me sane.
It worth more than the physical, Leonard. The physical touch of the George Price and Mr. Golson, right?
And I'm looking forward to a little crumb when the process is over with.
You well deserve it. You well deserve it. Well, we'll crumb each other, my brother.
Bantering a little bit, sir.
Yes, sir. We will. we will crown each other. You'll crown me, and I will crown you.
Amen.
Thank you. And as always, we start our program with a prayer followed by a reading. Leonard, again, can you lead us in a prayer, sir? Thank you.
Yes, sir, I will. I'll just go ahead and bow my head. Divine loving Father, we come before thy presence once more, asking that thou would continue to accept our expression of gratitude and thankfulness today for giving us life first and foremost, and the opportunity to still be among our family members, friends, and loved ones today. And we ask that thou would bless our family members, each and every one of them, as if they were each mentioned by name and number. The knowest our hearts, our desires, most secret thoughts. Please let the words of our mouth and the meditation of our mind and the contriteness of our hearts be acceptable before thy divine presence, now and always. We pray that thou mayest continue to bless our country of Belize, its people and leadership, that thou would continue to bless this country of the United States, its people and leadership. Thou knowest our trials and tribulations and all the other issues that we're having to deal with. Sometimes they are not necessarily material, but they could be physical, psychological, social, and in many other instances, loving Father. We pray that thou must bless the rest of humanity, especially those people who are in war zones, who are being hurt sometimes for no justifiable reason. We pray that thou mayest bless those and have mercy upon those who are in earthquake areas, tornadoes, storms, winter storms, and hurricane areas, and flooding, and all manner of pestilence and devastation on the face of this earth. Please provide for those who have need, loving Father. For we ask these mercies in Jesus' name, and that thou must bless this program, our 405th program tonight, and whatever we have to say, may it be to thy honor and glory, as well as to the well being of our people of Belize, at home and abroad. Amen.
Amen.
I yield
Thank
back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Leonard, for that warm prayer.
You're welcome, sir.
We all, the country, the world needs prayer, Leonard. Thank you very much for
Amen.
that prayer. I go straight to a reading from Isaiah. Isaiah 1, 1 to 10. And it's about the wickedness of Judea. And it reads, the vision of Isaiah the son of Amos, which he saw concerning Judea and Jerusalem in the days of the Uzzah, the Jotham, the Asa, the Hezekiah, king of Judea. And it reads, hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord has spoken. Children have children have I reared and brought up, but they have rebelled against me. The ox knows its owner, and the donkeys its master's crib. But Israel does not know. My people do not understand. O sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, offsprings of evildoers,
Mhm.
children who deal corruptly. They have forsaken the Lord. They have despised the Holy One of Israel. They are utterly estranged. Why will you still be struck down? Why will you continue to rebel? The whole head is sick, and the whole heart faint, from the soul to the foot, even to the head. There is no soundness in it, but bruises and sores on raw wounds. They are not pressed out or bound up or softened with oil. Your country lies desolate. Your city are burned with fire in your very presence. Foreigners devour your land.
Mhm.
It is desolate and overthrown by foreigners. And The daughter of Zion is left like a boot in a vineyard, like a lodge in a cucumber field, like a besieged city. If the Lord of hosts had not left us a few survivors, we should have been like Sodom and become like Gomorrah. Hear the words of the Lord, you rulers of Sodom. Give ear to the teachings of our God, you people of Gomorrah. That's my reading, Leonard. It's a warning, warning, warning. Right? Isaiah chapter 1, 1 to 10.
Mr. Chairman, that reading is an expression that even God can be annoyed with his the people that supposedly are chosen, or at least we are taught that they are chosen as God's people, or but even they can blaspheme against God, you know, and bring His wrath down upon them. That is to say, not only them but everyone else. So the lesson is not just for one set of people or one group of people. The lesson is for all of us, who ascribe to and or believe in the God that we're talking about. Because of course there are other gods that other people ascribe to and subscribe to, and you know there are other stories about those other gods. But about this particular story in the Old Testament, it's speaking to the people of Judea, Samaria, and others, and we should just take caution. Thank you
Amen.
very much, sir, for allowing me to expand or elaborate a little
Yeah,
in
so
your
true on
short
that, Leonard.
reading.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Um, Leonard, day by day, like I've always said, you know, when we sit here, there's always something new. There's always something that we should talk about because it's out there.
That's good. Um, did you pull that door? For me? Thank you. Just thank you.
It's
That's
out
fair.
there, Leonard. We see it, publicly. We see the actions of our. I always talk about our leaders because we expect better. We expect to see better,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we are not seeing it, right? It's always some kind of scheme, some kind of connivingness, some kind of lie, some kind of not being truthful, and some kind of way they spin things around to suit their agenda and hoping that the people will just ride off in the sunset and forget about it. And then they move on to another tragedy, to another situation. And again, they try to spin the people around and hoping that they forget about it. And then they move on to, it's a never ending story in my book. That's how I see it, Leonard.
So,
Uh, on our last show, Leonard, we talked about a little about the NHI because that was a big pitch for them on a speech on a rally in Belmopan not too long ago, like a week ago, showing their you know readiness for election because that's what they're selling to the Belizean people. Yeah, yeah, this is what I'm gonna give you all. I'm gonna give you NHI. I'm gonna give the nation NHI because we are doing good and it's the right thing for us to do. Over 25 years we've been waiting for that, and here it is. And then just vote for us again because we are doing good by you. But anyway, um, and you see the attitude of the mayor in Belmopan, the young man Kawich,
yes, sir.
Pablo Kawich, and along with his era man there, the PUP guy, the ex-BDF, the ex-soldier, the Mira guy. How they responded to the two murders in Belmopan, and you see the backlash, and they're saying, yeah, because they are black, and you know, they and they tend to, not seeing these two youths for who they are, and they denounce that they are from Belmopan, and all this kind of thing unbecoming for a leader, right? I mean,
Mhm.
words that they say that they shouldn't have said for a leader, right?
When when you get a chance, I would like to be remembered to go back to that particular point, sir.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
so as not to disturb you right now, so I won't ask for permission to
Yes,
disturb.
sir. And then we have, not too long ago, the constituency funding, and what the Briseño guy have to say, the leader of the nation has to say about that constituency fund, what he thinks about it, right? And we'll talk about it because it's a lot of taxpayers' money that is unaccounted for, Leonard. That we need to remind these people that some kind of accountability should be given to the taxpayers. Should be given as to how they squander the taxpayers' money, and that's beside their salary. Leonard, we'll talk about that
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
it's a hell of a lot of money when you add up all these 31 non-performing representative. It's a lot of money, right? That could go elsewhere, that where it's needed. We talk about that. Um, we'll talk about social security. We've been talking for a very long time about social security, the attitude, and what they how they treat uh, disabled, how they treat deserving people that you know um, need their social security money that they had put in, not what they are begging for. No, what they had put in, right?
Hmm.
See the amount of problems, and lately this one teacher, we'll talk about it, 27 years of fattening the social security piggy bank for whoever, for those who gets it easily. See the problem he's getting now to get his little bit, and Leonard, it's not a lot of money these people get, not a lot of money. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about their attitude. We'll talk about who gets, the people's purse, the entities that gets millions of social security money without problem, right? Without, that's my problem. They have these poor workers that they put through so many doctors. One would say this person is disabled, Leonard, and then they have a group of whoever doctors there that put these people through some tests, and so, you know to solve their own interests, just to say, well, like, is these people really sick, or is these people really deserving, right? And we'll talk about it because I see that as nonsense, right? And they should do better by the people that fatten that entity, right? So, Leonard, and not to mention, you know, the poor healthcare situation in the nation. Very poor, Leonard. We've been talking about that for many years now, right? And I spoke to some people, right? And we talk about the court system and child support, Leonard. We have been discussing this for some time now. You could remember that, right?
Yes, sir.
And again, it's only getting worse, right? These poor single mother who expect child support that goes through the court system, it's pathetic, right? And who suffers? We talk about that because that's um it's so sad, And Leonard, unkak, we gotta keep putting it out there. And I call on other entities, any other media houses, to call on the government to pass UNCAC fully in a UNCAC, right? And, I call on the U.S. State Department again to interject some serious accountability in Belize. Especially, they have written them letters on human rights abuse. Human right abuse. And they have pointed out different departments and different people that are committing crimes against human rights in Belize.
Mm.
I want them to continue to call these people out, and at some point we could hold them accountable in a court of law. At some point, because it's too much human rights abuse still going on in Belize. And not to mention, again, we talk about in the last program about our neighbors up north, what's really going on in Mexico. But there's a lot, Leonard, and as always, time is always of essence, So touch any one of that, Leonard. I pass it over to you. Any one of those
Thank you.
uh,
Oh, go
things
ahead.
of concern right now in the nation of Belize.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Um, I'd like to speak to the issue of what, the first one that you had mentioned.
The NHI, the constituency funds,
Yeah, the
or
constituency funds. Yeah. Um, I would like to say that the constituency funds should be increased. But before I go there, I want to touch base on how is it that some constituencies, as regards to the size of the divisions, have 2 to 3 thousand people, and they are getting the same amount of money, or maybe more in some instances that I can recall. They are getting more money than the other divisions that are larger, and I'll show how. In the Stan Creek West division, or even the Belmopan division, for example, or the Kyle South division, three are the biggest divisions then. The Prime Minister says that he's giving some people 10,000, some other people get 15,000, some other people get 20,000, and some others get 25,000. If all those divisions were supposed to be as the Constitution requires, and as you guys have sued the government to comply with, to be almost as equal as each other, then you would have had the amount of money being distributed equally among those people, so that each person in their one division gets nearly as equal representation, as well as money out of the treasury or benefits, because that's what the Constitution in the preamble reads, that the assets of the country, the material wealth of the country, should be shared in such a way that everybody benefits from it, and they should benefit as equal as each other. Okay? Now, we don't have to read what the Constitution says particularly, because we have read those parts over and over before. So why is it then that if he can give to some division 10,000, and other divisions he gives 15, and other division 20, and other divisions 25, and the small divisions, some of them get the bigger number, and the big divisions get smaller number? That means that the small divisions are getting more representation, more benefits out of the system because of their smaller size than the bigger division, because the bigger division get a small amount of money, and they have to spread that to 4 or 5 times the amount of the small division have. That's not fair. That's not nearly as equal. So in so many different ways, they're failing. But on top of that, as I was saying initially when I first opened my mouth to start my commentary, I believe that each division should get more funds than they are currently getting, because the need of the people in those divisions, especially in the poorer division, is much greater than it used to be. So if they can find millions tens of millions of dollars to swing deals to benefit politicians and their family. Why are they restricting the money that goes to a whole division, whether it be a small one or a big one, from 10,000 as an average up to 25,000? Why can't they give them 50,000 or even 100,000? 32 division at 100,000 each. That's barely over $3 million, not 32, 31. Okay, that's barely over $3 million. How much more then or how much more work or benefit can those people who are living in those political divisions benefit from, or how much more work? Like Mr. Mala was saying, he had to deal with 75 people the other day. He was crying about that. He is getting more than a whole lot of other divisions are getting, and his division is one of the small ones. I'm in the Pickstock division. He never even had an election. He never had no competitor. He's crying that, well, this might be his last election because, it's getting so hard. What does he think governance is? Especially when they're not actually doing proper governance. It makes everything harder. The people have needs. And if they can't get jobs, they won't come begging because they have to fill their needs. They have children, they have their rent. Like you said earlier, the electricity is going up, the water is going up, telephone is going up, food is going up, everything is going up, rent is going up, and the people don't have jobs. That's why he have 75 people at his office in one day. It's not because they don't know or they don't understand. They're a bunch of rascals. They're hustling on their own behalf. They don't worry about the rest of the population. Every one of them go into politics with less resource than what they come out of politics with. If they serve a full term, they become millionaire. If they serve 2 terms, they become multi-millionaire. And if they serve more than 2 terms, and all these guys are doing is just scraping off the top of the cream for themselves. Okay? They're being selfish. Not only do they get their subvention for their division, they get a bigger salary than the average person in the society, by far. And if they're a minister, not only just an elected official, if they're a minister in cabinet, for example, they have a whole portfolio of assets to play around with, from which they suborn material assets that belongs to the country that should go to benefit the people in. They suborn it onto themselves. So they're not supposed to be complaining about how hard the job is. Do a little better than what they're currently doing. People are not expecting them to make miracles. Just do a little bit better. Try to do the best they can. Rather than spending most of the time hustling. The other thing too, Mr. Chairman, is in regards to the same electioneering thing. They get their salary, like I said, they get their subvention, they get their salary, and they have like you say, a fuel book or a fuel card. Okay, that they could top up their gas tank anytime they're ready. If any other vehicles, anything happen to it, especially the government issued one, they have a government department that looks after those vehicles and make sure that money is spent to maintain them, so these guys will keep rolling. And some of them, when they crash the vehicle, they get a new one almost right away. Then they get other perks too, okay? Because their telephone is being paid for. Some of them get allowance for other homes because their regular home is far away from the capital, and they got to go to the capital for business. So they get traveling expenses as well. They get all kind of benefits. And if they got to travel out of a certain area, they get a stipend for food. All that extra money is going to them. Most of the money is being scammed off and schemed off at the top. That's the reason why they don't have money for the NHI. At least that was they're claiming that they don't have enough to do all of what they want to do. But then what about the Bolito money that they said that they were making so much more than what was being declared before? We should have those extra monies as well to put to the NHI. There's so much, there's so much wrong going on. You what, Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, Leonard. My take on that, Leonard. All your points there are valid points and truth, right? Truth as to what we see and what we know, and their attitude and the way they behave with these funds. Now, my take on constituency funds, right? Should be money, Leonard, and my people that goes to the area representative to help his constituents.
That's why they call it
Right?
constituency fund, sir.
Not to do otherwise and put straight in your bank account. Because Mr. Man and Miss Lady, they get a fat salary, a very fat salary, and like Leonard mentioned, all the other perks. Not going to mention all the other perks. You guys know what you are getting. Do you deserve it? Hell no, you do not deserve it. Right? That's how I feel. You're not deserving. Right? You're deserving your same way as for me. I think the same way an employee find his way to his job, the same way you all should find your way to do the job of the people. The same way. Because you're getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Not with all these perks that you are getting. And then when a constituent go to you on office on Wednesday, right? Now this is what happened, I'm telling you what happened, Leonard, because I know, right? On Wednesday, these guards go and they sit down in a chair there and have somebody there that directing traffic who goes in and who knows go in to see the guard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they go through one door and come out the other door, right? Disappear.
So people don't
Gone.
see them.
I don't say it all the time. Sometimes they do that and say, I'll come back next Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that is a total, disservice to the name area representative. This service. Now, Mr. Representative, that money should go to the single mother, right, that just lost her husband and have 3-4 kids that need to pay her light bill, water bill, or pay house rent, or pay some kind of medical bill for the children, or help in some kind of way with nutrient for these children, help in some kind of way for these kids to find and get a good education, right? But do that happen? No. Time and time again, you find people on the street, trying to solicit funds to pay a medical bill or, get some food. We see it all the time, Leonard. I see it every day. Pretty much if I go out, I see that. Right? Say, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead. Because, this is...
How the, okay. Each division get, like I said earlier or explained earlier, a certain amount. Whether it's the 10,000 or the 15 or the 20 or the 25. Each of them get a certain amount per month. By the way, that's not an amount for the whole year. So you multiply that times 12, and that tells you more or less how much some of these guys are getting. Some of them are getting, if it's 10,000 a month, that's 120,000 for the year. The ones
Times
that are getting
that by 5?
Huh?
Times that by 5?
For why? Why by 5?
Yeah, because they have 5 years. 5 years.
Oh yeah, no. Okay, I'm just doing our annual budget
Oh, annual, I'm
presentation,
just
right?
saying, I went
Yeah, yeah,
ahead.
I understand you, I understand you. But then, what up? The ones them that are getting the 10 end up with 120,000 per year. The ones that are getting the 25, right, end up with how much? The 300,000 per year. So some divisions that are so small are getting 300,000, and the ones that are so big are getting 100,000. That's unfair. But that is not even my point. As unfair as that is, my point is the way the money is used in the division when it's sent or distributed to the area representative, the ones that who are elected, they take that money and they pay their campaign workers, the people who run their local office for them. That money doesn't go to the outside for services to the general people. People who come to the office, they ask for assistance. They go and they ask other merchants in the community for money and for different food stuff and things, and they repackage and give it to these people when these people come asking for a little hands out. Because the money is used to pay the salaries of the campaign workers and the campaign and the office workers then. Each division have their own local office. So most of that money gets eaten up by the local campaign workers and minister or representative people them, right? They have to eat too. They have to get paid. They get priority. So that's what I'm saying. The money that is being sent to those offices and the way the money is distributed, or it doesn't reach the people. And they need to increase those numbers because the money is there for them to increase it so that more money get to go to the people, to the services that the people are coming and begging for. Some people they ask for money to help with the light bill. Some want money to pay the water bill so they don't get cut out. Some of these houses that you see getting burned down is because people are using the candles. Okay? They don't have money, and sometimes they cut them out because they don't pay on time. Some people resort to using the candles in their house, and you know what happens when you use candle? You fall asleep and a candle is burning, you're liable to have a fire burn, right? A child is around playing with a candle, or the curtain get blown towards the candle, then you have your window open up to try to get a little fresh breeze in there during the course of the night when the weather is hot. They don't have no refrigeration or air conditioning, or some of them barely have a fan if they do. So on all these things, the, there's a special department that does these kind of things for the people, for the indigent. That's the department that Miss Valdemamos was in charge of the other day when they first got in, and the first thing she did was to cut out the pantry. Instead of finding more money to add to the poverty alleviation programs, they cut it back so they can have extra money to do all kind of other stupidness. Are you back, Mr. Chairman?
So my people, thank you, Leonard. So my
You're welcome,
people,
sir.
I try to show what the meaning of constituency funds, and I try to show you where this money should go, and we show you where it doesn't reach you. Um, you know, again, the constituency, you have on a community center, see leaky roof and grown up hedges and dilapidated buildings, and in your schools, in the villages that the grass and snakes crawling in. I
Mm-hmm.
ride around and I see all these you know growing up bushes in schoolyards where children are playing. That's where constituency funds should come in, right? But what they do, all these things that I've mentioned, they wait until the public works is available with their bush hog to go bush hog, and there's only so much they can do,
Mm-hmm.
right? But what I'm trying to say is that the funds are not being used what is it is intended for. So my people, in a short note, when you see your area representative wears a he or a she, ask him or ask her about the constituency fund and if you could get any help, right? Any help on the, and we had told you that that's just monthly, right? That's just monthly. So imagine for the end of the year how fat your area representative bank account is. Just
Mhm.
imagine, right? And again, I want to welcome our next senior panelist, our Monday night chairman, Mr. Gregory Brackett. Welcome, my brother.
Thank
Glad
you,
to have
Mr.
you.
Chairman.
Good night, Greg.
Good night to you, my good cousin, and good night to you, Mr. Chairman. Good night to you, people at home and abroad. Thanking you for tuning in to this 405th edition of Belizean Affairs. Mr. Chairman, I was in the back there listening to you and what you were saying, and I want to say these people cannot ask their ministers about the distribution of funds because you as well as I know that as I mentioned before we are living in a designer system that will not change, a system that is designed to keep the poor in poverty and to keep recycling the same measures that both political parties want, that is to win election, and the only way to win election is to give an oath. That is why people tend to sell their votes not for democracy, but to try to make ends meet for a short period of time. And this will continuously happen when we have past and present government that is lacking in both external and internal policy. What is the role of government?
Mm.
The role of government is to get with private sectors and create jobs. The role of government is to make sure people living in communities and in this country live in harmony and is well protected. The role of government is to make sure that the populace, the people of this country, have adequate medical facilities to keep them healthy. And you cannot preach about NHI and what it will do and how it will work when you don't have the backing in facilities, in medication, and you don't have it in enough health workers and doctors that can really step up to the plate for the people of Belize until we can overcome this. And it's not that we can't, because all countries over the world is run by taxes it collects, and this government is collecting more than enough taxes on the high gas prices and the high price on commodities and products. So
As well as the services that they are charging for that they shouldn't be charging.
exactly. But with that said, Mr. Chairman, I want to go back to you.
Thank you.
But that was based on what you were speaking about.
Exactly. And it's so true. And we while we're on this constituency funds, right? Um, that should speak for itself. And another thing, what they're doing, they're trying to let the constituency, the villages, the village councils start collecting taxes within their village. Find a way to collect money for right. So there you go again. That will help your area representative now to put more money in his or her pocket, right? Because then the village councils now will start collecting money, right, on taxes in the village, so that they could claim they say they want to paint the building, paint the community center, clean up the village, and this and that, and a whole hell of a baloo, which is a rotten lie, right? But see, this is where these people are taking you, right? And constituency funds should be for the single mothers who had taken their husband or their children's father to court, and the 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 magistrate, says, well, Mr. Man, you need to pay child support, and he is default. So that constituency fund should come, when that single mother goes to the area representative now and say, I haven't gotten any child support, and can you please help me? And thing that should be readily available to help these single mothers. And also, what that area representative should do is call the court and find out what is really going on. Call the police. What happened? There is a summons. There's a warrant out for this person, or this person should appear to court, and he didn't appear to court. This deadbeat dad. Why didn't you pick him up? Oh well, the lady couldn't have the $50 to pay to serve the summons. That's bullcrap. That should never happen. Why should that lady come up with $50 to go and pay a public servant that the taxpayers are already damn paying for you to do that job? Right? It's a whole mess. I'm telling you, in this country of called Belize, a whole mess. Right? So now that lady now is shown now like the person who are not following up what you should do. How the hell that lady is going to find $50 to go and pay the policeman to go serve the summons to the deadbeat dad, right? That's bull crap. So that's where the area representative come in now to try and help this lady through her difficult times, right? And it happens on a continual, because we here on Belizean Affairs has been advocating the same problem for single mothers, right? That go to receive their child support at the court, and it's not there for whatever reason. We have been talking about this for over 4 or 5 years now. Has it gotten any better? Hell no. Gotten worse. Then they wonder why so many, problems and so many crimes and all the other ills in the country. That's part of what contribute to that, right? Because at the end of this day, this lady has to feed her kids. This lady has to find money when it's needed. This lady has to find medical attention. This lady has to find education for her kids, right? And with what if she's not getting what she's supposed to get? What do you think will happen, right? But who think about it? Who see the ills, right? So all these things really upset me because it's easy to solve. It's so easy, right? And I'm ashamed of the police department, right? Who will tell a mother that, well, the court has said that I should take the summons to your ex because he's not, paying his child support. But you need to pay me $50. Shame on that damn policeman, and shame on the system. Shame, shame, shame. Right? So they need to get their damn act together, right?
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Go ahead, Greg.
As I stated before, we live in a designer system. past and present government has contributed to these deadbeat dads because they fail at their internal policy to create jobs for these young men to work. How much long-term jobs has past and present government created?
None that
The
I know
present
about.
government is trying to use the BPOs as created jobs that they even name them as essential service when they are not. They are a foreign entity that came into this country. Now, when we talk about deadbeat dad and picking them up, when you do that, they are only putting costs on the system because to host these deadbeat dads, taxpayers' money will be used to keep them afloat in prison. So why not throw the money into the social welfare to help these young ladies if you as government cannot go there and create jobs? And I can tell you, they can create jobs. I'm a master at doing that. And I can tell you it can happen. Let's look at the present city council right now in Belize, giving away close to 1 million or maybe over 1 million plus dollars to cut grass around the city. That money could have been gone to each division, these young men that have kids and have no job, and they could have get them to cut it on a weekly salary basis, run per that division. We can start with that. Then we would not have the beat that. And there's many more I can speak about that the government can do to have these young men working. Look at what is happening as we speak. The monopolization of companies is happening so quick. It's unbelievable. As I stated, whenever the present party get into government, nationalization and privatization is always the top of the list. And it is not only me seeing it, because the foreign entity has called it out. And I have been speaking about it. I have been speaking about this designer system designed to keep you in poverty, designed for the party in power to win elections. I go back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, Leonard,
Yes, sir. Another part of what's going on is that they give these contracts, as Greg alluded to just now, they give these contracts to favored people. And what makes it worse is in some instances, they don't only give them a contract, guaranteed contract, probably on an annual basis, but
we see
sometimes they
that
give
all
them
the time.
long term, they give them long-term contracts beyond the terms that they are elected. So that when they cease to be elected, whoever comes in after them and becomes the government is burdened with these contracts that they can't get out of. And they still have to be paying. While some of this money that they're paying to these contractors come back to these previous administrators indirectly. So it's all part of a big scam, the big hustle, as I call it, both at the central government level, which gives these local entities powers now to be doing their own taxation because the central government wants to keep all the tax that they have acquired or that they get to acquire. They don't want to give the small divisions their subvention like they used to do before. They want to be able to keep all of that for themselves and just authorize these other entities to have power to raise their own funds. And where do you think they're going to raise the funds from? The same place that central government raises its funds from. They're not going to go to the big companies that they give 5, 10, 15, 20 years or 25 years uh, tax exemption. that's supposed to pay their one share of the taxes, they come to the very same small person and hustle them too. Right, left, and center, over and over. That's the onerousness of the system. They get money, they don't want to share it, and then they want to. Then they turn around and go and borrow additional money on top of what they get from the citizens. They borrow more money in the citizens' name, hundreds of millions of dollars every year. The budget, I think they mentioned the budget was like almost $2 billion for the year. Multiply that times 5 years for a full term. That's like $10 billion we're talking about for the budget. And the budget is never always correct because every month they go to the House to get additional supplemental budgets. And that's not like just yesterday that started. That's been going on for decades now. So they present or they read a budget, a fake budget in the House, and then they turn around and they fatten it up every month. So it's far more than $2 billion per year. It's more like 2.5 or more billions every year. So for a 5-term, uh, 5-year term, you end up with over 12.5 to $15 billion. Where is the money going if people are not receiving the services? And every other service that the government provide for that you have to go and pay for, that's extra money that they're collecting in. Suppose they were collecting the taxes from the big corporations then, instead of just get a little something on the side in their own personal pockets. Make that money go to the treasury. You would have more money to sponsor or pay for the government services. The government wouldn't be so hard up for funds and wouldn't have to double charge the people then for the services that the people are supposed to get because it's already being paid for. In fact, that's how come some of the people then that are working in the government offices run what they call the mordida scam. Because they offer to do the public service jobs for some people for a little kickback. And that's money that's not going into the treasury or the government pocket again, such as customs, such as land department, such as immigration and passport and other, all these different places, you know, are being run under a system now that depends on kickbacks. And like, for example, the situation at the customs department, the prime minister is just pretending like, well, it's no big deal, you know. When they are telling him about it, he is complaining about the people that are reporting the problems. Instead of getting his ass up and go and send out a few of his investigators then to go and look at these matters, even if they have to go undercover, and fire who needs to be fired, because only so you're going to get some better results. Are you, Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Brackett, if I may, sir, say this to you.
Yes, sir.
It is no big deal for him because he's trying to chisel away at millions, which is bigger than that.
Mm-hmm.
So that little something don't make a difference to him.
Yes, I.
But the chump change amounts to over $200 million every year
That is
in the
correct,
custom
sir.
department alone.
That
In
is
the custom
correct.
department alone. When you add that up to all the other different departments, that's extra money that could have been coming in. You know, that's probably another $500 million to $1 billion that could be coming in to the treasury. You know what Belize could do with another $500 million right now? How much more poverty alleviation programs could be sponsored? How much more of those people that are on the streets sleeping around the place could be helped? Or how less tax the government can be taken away from people under the high gas tax? Because that's the only money, that's one of the money that they have to use to supplement the budget. They will have those funds available. And they'll probably be able to do more than they are doing right now.
But Mr. Brackett, I will
Mismanagement.
tell you why it is not working. As I said, Mr. Chairman, we are living in a designer system designed to keep the low class in poverty. We was just speaking about the dead fathers. They had just passed a law that if a parent, son or daughter cannot mind their kid, by law the grandparents to do that. That is correct. They passed that law. But then you pass
which is
this law,
unconstitutional, by the way. It's
they
illegal and
pass
unlawful.
it is
Yeah,
unlawful.
go ahead,
They
sir.
pass this law and in return these same grandparents who are retired civil servants, you the government
Don't
don't
want to
want
pay
to
them.
pay them.
Hello?
So now what? But these are the kind of stupid laws that they want to pass that is informal and unconstitutional.
Mr. Chairman, to the point that Mr. Brackett just raised just now, Mr. Gray, I want to add this. BTL, the other day when they were under pressure by the unions and the political people and everybody and the commerce people and everybody was against
The
they
acquisition.
made promise. They came out and made a quick promise that they was going to pay those people, only to find out a few days after that they turn around and put them back just where they were before all the pressure was on. And the chairman and the what they call it, the CEO, those people are getting $300,000 to $400,000 a year, plus benefits and perks and other stuff, lands and all kind of other stuff that the government is giving them or fattening them up with. And I think hard to give these people a little couple $100 a month that they have already worked for. So they are stiffing these people while they are bleeding the company. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's
Again,
ludicrous.
guys, Greg and Leonard, not too long ago, um, by the way, the NHI program, you know, seems like, guys, like, a gift to the Belizean people, right? It started in the north in Orange Walk, where the the the,
Prime
the money
Minister.
guy, the Briseño guy, and the Bernard guy reside.
Mm-hmm.
Um, why there was a election coming, and so they pitch it there, roll it out there, big rollout. And now on 2026 here now, it says, well, the nation of Belize and will the NHI will roll out, right, to the whole nation, right, because another election is coming up. But my point does that really is that NHI really helping the poor and less fortunate?
No.
Okay, my take on that. This is just me. Then I will pass it over to you guys. My take on that: the first time they rolled it out was to reward some of their cronies in the
Mm-hmm.
medical field and pharmacies. Um, it was just another burden on the Carl Hushner, another burden on the
Okay.
Northern healthcare facility, the
Mm-hmm.
Northern Hospital,
Mm-hmm.
right? That was my take. Now they roll it out to the whole country. It's going to be a more burden to the public hospitals around the country and a more burden to Carl Hushner, which is already, have nothing left to work with because everything there's nothing there. In my humble, in my personal view, there's nothing there because again, it's just to reward people. It's not about serving the sick, poor people, less fortunate people. It's not about that. Believe me, it's not about that. The word, yes, and the way they push it out there is wow, how nice it was put out there. But these suckers already calculated that already, right? So my point is that you know my heart goes out to the people who think that they go to that facility that takes NHI, that they are going to get the best care. They're going to get better care. No, they are not. You are not, my people, because when you walk into these little setup office that is designed for NHI service, it's designed, like Greg says, designer state, but not like that. What I'm saying is that these little offices around the country that have the word NHI accepted, that is just like a pass through. But when you come out, you still got to go and buy your medication. You will still have to go to that lab. You will still have to go to the private hospitals to get that specialty treatment. You see? But again, at the end of the day, the persons that own these little offices that will go to and check on the blood pressure, on the temperature, and ask you what you eat last night or what you don't eat and give you a little Tylenol, they are the one that is going to get rich.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not. That's my take on that. Greg, to you.
Mr. Chairman, oh, sorry.
I'll go to Greg first.
Uh-huh.
Then I'll go to you, Leonard.
Yes, sir. That's fine.
Mr. Chairman, let's call it for what it is. NHI is the greatest political blunder of this century. I will tell you what and why. It's a political blunder. It's a narrative being spread that is supposed to help the people. But how can you help the people that way when you don't have the quality hospitals to do it? You barely have the machines to do X-ray and to do CT scan. You don't have the highly qualified nurses and doctors. So how can you accomplish that when all the monies you have get to build these hospitals, you have not even started, but you already acquired the land? And let me tell you why I'm saying this is a great political blunder of this century. Not only because of election, because if this was what was needed to be done, the social insurance is what should have been doing what this so-called NHI is predicted to do. But instead, you are taking the social security money and use it to put in corrupt deals that drop through. And I can call them out. This detailed deal will be phony baloney. The last deal under the last Prime Minister, Said Musa, Sunshine Holding, Social Security lost $30 million. If the government of Belize wanted to do right by the people, the monies that people put in Social Security could have built high level perishable hospital for the people without borrowing money. But they are taking the money to put in at these political monopoly deals. And when they fail, they already can't hear these people who get sick, who who can't pay their hospital bill. When they are spreading this commercial narrative, it is there for when you get sick. It is there to help you in the time of need. And all this phony baloney, that should have been
Sad.
the number one thing
Real sad.
before NHI that the people is paying the people's money into. And it is not happening. Because you know why? The Social Security funds keep going into these monopoly deals. And I will go to the tape, Mr. Chairman.
So as you know, in terms of debentures are different from shares. So if a business is not successful, they still have to pay the debentures. The beautiful thing about this particular investment is that when we get the monies back, we will get back the face value of this investment of 7 million plus, right? Even though we paid at a discounted rate. The country's economy is growing, and there is this increase in demand for electricity.
Stop the tape there, Mr. Chairman. Social again. Buying into BL with the false narrative. The country economy is growing. Where is it going at? I can tell you, constant price gouging on the people of Belize and the high hiking of prices as well as fuel that Belizeans cannot make it. The $5, the dollar and 70 cents that they want to claim, they raise the minimum wage to $5. A political blunder narrative to those who don't understand will say, oh, but the present government raised the minimum wage to $5. No, get your facts straight. They raised the minimum wage by $1.70 to let it come up to $5, which is nothing. And you know why it is nothing, the $1.70? Check the water bill that went up. Check the electric bill that went up. And other things that is going up. I go back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Greg. So, Leonard, go ahead, Leonard.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Wow.
The issue of the NHI, which is what we were on before,
Mm-hmm.
is that if the government really was honest about making the NHI work for the people, regardless of where they was getting the money, would not have been the issue or the problem. Whether they get it from the Bolido money, whether they get it from subvention from the government central coffers, or whether you're borrowing money from Social Security, or that Social Security is giving the hospital systems grants or assistance. The issue is the government should not have opened up the NHI program to private institutions. Okay? They should have allowed all those resources that they were collecting or getting to go and help sponsor the public institutions. That would have been extra money that could have been pumped into the public institutions, the public hospitals, and could have provided better and more services, as compared to them making it so onerous now, where the private hospitals, that in the case of the ones that the government not government employees, some of the people in government who own the private hospital, so they're stifling the public hospital so that it doesn't operate, and people end up having to go to the private hospital where they're actually on the back end collecting the money. So they don't allow the private hospitals to provide services to these people who need the services that the public hospital is not being financed to do. And then these private hospitals charge exorbitant fees for even services that they claim that they need to be paid for, that they have not actually given to people. Okay? They bill and overbill the public payer or payee, and the public payee or payer has been the government, does not do any audits or does not do any forensic audit, does not check on the real cost and compare those costs as a cost benefit analysis to figure out whether or not they're getting the book, the getting the worth of
Value for
their
money.
money. Yeah. Why? Like I said, they're the private hospital owners are the very same people, the PUP party, who took money out of the public coffers to buy that private hospital in the first instance, and then turn around and we had to pay for that money, and we had to pay back for all the interest that went up to $90 million. And what kind of service do we get out of them? None. We don't even own a share in the private company. But we, the public coffers, had to pay up for all of that stuff. And now they come about talking that they want to take the money that's supposed to be available to upgrade the public hospitals and let them tap into that money under the guise of providing private services at a higher cost. That is totally wrong. They shouldn't be doing that. But they do it. Why? Because they're the government. Are you back, sir?
Thank you. My,
That's a
like again, I'm going to end
scam.
this NHI situation by telling the Briseno administration, along with the Bernard guy, that to scrap that word NHI and put the money that was attached to that word NHI, like Leonard says, to the public institutions, right? That is so direly in need of that money, in need of that NHI money, right? And let it be. Then you could say you're doing right by the Belizean people, because at the end of the day, like I says, all the poor people, all the less fortunate, all the sick people that is going to that place that has that word NHI will still end up at the public hospital.
Mr. Chairman.
That's my take on that, and go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, let's make it be real. What we are speaking about here in Belizean affair and what I am personally speaking about, as I mentioned, a political blunder in the NHI narrative. I will show you, the people at home and abroad, why it's a narrative and a political blunder. It's election stunt. They are doing damage control to try to win the confidence of the people.
Yeah.
Because
exactly what it is.
If they really cared about the people and about the health of the people, they would not have jacked the passport up to that high, 100%, knowing people use that passport to go across the border to get better medical assistance than what is happening in Belize.
Can I before I finish? Can I go back to the previous point?
Go ahead, sir.
I just want to add something else more there. When the government decided to open up this NHI program to private as well as public hospitals, the government, let me be specific, like the Prime Minister then, and the other ministers then, and the CEOs, and all the top government officials then, they don't go to Carl Houston or any of the local clinics or hospitals in Belize. They go abroad, which is going to turn into what Greg was about to say just now. They go abroad at the government expense. Or, at the worst, they go to the private clinics or hospitals, which they own personally. They get their services there at a higher price than if they had gone to Carl Houston or any of the other public entities. And it's being paid with the same money that should be available to funds to sponsor or finance Carl Houston. Therefore, Carl Houston and the other government institutions are deprived of the funding that they need. And then these private entities suck up the money, and the people still end up back, like I said earlier, at Carl Houston. It is unfair, it's unreasonable, and it shouldn't be done.
Amen to that.
I yield back to you.
Amen to that. You know,
You're
guys,
bringing up in terms of going abroad for the local service, for
Greg,
Mr.
Greg and
Chairman, as I
Leonard,
was
we
saying,
go ahead.
again, I will repeat it why I'm saying what I'm saying. When you drop the passport fee that high, that was the extra money these people used to travel across the border to help them when they have an health issue and to buy little medicine or whatever they needed.
So true on that.
Mr. Chairman, we are dealing with a racist government, and I said
Amen.
it before. I
Truth
keep
on that.
seeing it from I saw what was done to Southsiders up to the present issue that happened in Belmopan.
True,
And
true
I
on that.
will keep saying that because it always points to Southsiders and to black people. It always happens that way. And we are here talking about NHI. I can go on and go on. What happened to the young man who died at the border in an ambulance? A Belizean that should not
Sad.
be denied the entry into
Real
his
sad.
country of birth.
Real sad. Real sad.
But this is what we're dealing in when Belize is becoming safe haven for foreign nationals, when Belize is doing amnesty for foreign nationals and can't even have one of their own birthright Belizean enter across a border that is sick.
which the
Thank you.
Constitution says is illegal. No government official has the authority or the right to deny you the opportunity to go in or out of the country or to transit from any one part of the country to the other. The Constitution speaks to that specifically. So it's not something that they don't know. While they could put up all kind of excuses and say, okay, well, it's because of this or it's because of that, at the end of the day, they committed a crime against the Constitution and the rights of the individual to the point of allowing them to die right there on the spot. Okay? That's how onerous they are.
Greg, you finish up or I
I
could?
go back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, guys. You know, on this Social Security board, right? We here on this program has pointed out numerous flaws on Social Security. Numerous. For few years now. We could go back, you know, to all the ways that pensioners are being deprived. Pensioners have been treated to their new system, which will directly affect elderly, older people that does not have access to internet and a phone and you know, to log in and to you know, do your fill out your form on the internet and all these things that they had generated, and for what?
To
Only
disenfranchise the
to
people.
there you go.
So that
And
they don't have to pay those money out.
And Greg and Leonard and Greg, you pointed out the squandering of the people's money from Social Security to different cronies. I call them cronies of PUP and UDP because UDP does the same crap. They set their people there to serve their people. Same thing that PUP. They set their people up in Social Security to serve their people when they go there without no question asked. Oh, Mr. So and so and so, how much you want? How much billion? How much million? Right? Johnny send me, Tommy send me, Dickie send me, this one send me. quick time. They
But
get there, come out with.
they shouldn't be denying people's claims, Mr.
That
Chairman.
is
That's not a
exactly
problem.
what they're doing, Leonard. And a very important thing, Greg and Leonard, that and it keeps happening. The new one now with the teacher that is so sick, right?
Mhm.
So sick, constantly in pain, right? Why are these people doing this? And what kind of money, is been talked about? How much money does these people get? Not millions that they are giving away. No, a
When
common little 300 a month or 200 a month. And this gentleman, Leonard and Greg, has been paying in publicly, he says, for 27 years.
Mhm.
Right? No. And these people have the face of brass to come on national TV and in the media and says, how much millions they are going to give to BTL and BEL and this one and that one and the rum guy in the north and all. Sad, man. Real sad, right, Greg and Leonard? Real sad. Right? The man in the wheelchair.
They're just scammers.
Right? The paralyzed guy in the wheelchair that they give the run around and just to get what? A measly little $100. Huh? What is wrong with these people?
But it's not just that
That's
one
why I
person,
say.
Mr. Chairman. It's a lot of other people that they're denying them requests. It's a lot of people. That's why they could have millions of dollars available for them scam.
Yes. And who are these people depriving? Their very own Belizean people. Their very own, people that had labored and paid in so that they could sit on a damn seat and sign checks. Give them that job because they're the very same people that pays them. Right? The very same money that people pays into Social Security. Man, it's so sad to see how they squander it on the people that deserving. It's time for me to get my Social Security now, man. Because right, I'm of age and I need it. No, they ring these people. They ring them, turn them around. Oh, did you sign that form? That form? Did you see this doctor? That doctor? We put you on hold and oh no, you got to log into this portal and you got to do this it's a damn shame what these people do to the deserving people in the nation of Belize. Back to you, Greg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And the proof is always in the pudding, sir, and people at home and abroad. Nationalization and privatization.
The North is not signing with this national bus company. Not all. I'm not saying all. But the majority of the bus owners there in the North are not signing with this national bus company.
How would you answer the criticism that you have not signed on it because you're a UDP and you just don't want, say, NPUP initiative prosper?
Jules, like how I mentioned, I am not against modernization, and I just had a meeting, right? And I do believe that this is not about politics. This is about our daily commuters and, like how I mentioned, our livelihood as bus owners. Up to now, I do not feel threatened, right? Because they are letting us have our permits and everything for us to continue running as a business. But one of the things that they will do, and I can assure you that they will do, is that they will try to intimidate us in every possible manner that they can. Who is running the game? The government and the national bus company. And who do you think they will try for us to feel? They will make us feel so that they can be able to get that monopoly. What will they do with all those buses that they are buying? They may be able to use 1 or 2 buses from all those buses that they are buying, as backup, if they do continue with this national bus company. But Right, I do believe that I prefer those old buses than the new buses that are coming, because I know how those buses work. I know how I can fix those buses. I know how I can be able to manage and operate those buses.
There you go.
And that is what will happen, Mr. Chairman. They will build up costs, and you know who will pay for it? The public part of the public-private company or private-public. So the taxpayers' money will be involved, and the private ownership part, they will just sit back and collect. And for long term, is how they set up these corporations. I go back to you, sir.
Go ahead, Leonard.
As I said from the very beginning with this privatization effort, it was all about dispossessing those people of their livelihood, allowing the government to make rules and regulations that will push them out of their means of survival, so that the new national entity will inherit all those runs eventually. They will disqualify other people who can't meet certain standards that they will set that only those buses that they have will be able to meet, even though they break down constantly. Like Florelia, for example. Florelia is breaking down more often than the other regular buses then. GM's bus that comes all the way from PG to Belize and goes all the way to Chetumal. They don't break them as often as the Florelia buses. Why? Because they're nice looking buses, they're new to Belize, but they're old on the market. And they were not built for the kind of roads that Belize has. Belize road is not like, highways in America and other places. All roads are not properly built. And then we have all these big double and triple what do they call them? Trailers that are pulling heavy cargo on those roads that weren't properly compacted and are made of a little bit of tar that they put down on top of the sand, and they crush in a little bit of half-inch and quarter-inch rocks. Those things don't have the tensile strength that is required. That's the reason why the road, the new road that they have built, the coastal road, as soon as they start running on it, it got destroyed. It's the same thing that happened with the road, the Chetumal Road. From Northern Highway across the Chetumal Bridge to the Western Highway. When they capped the stuff, they didn't use the correct kind of bituminous material. And then they started running those big trucks that were coming loaded from the port area with all kind of goods, 70-odd ton, not ton, 70-odd 1,000 pounds trailers. That's what broke up the road that easily. Those roads are not built like foreign roads. In Belize, we build road based on a contract kickback. Then give it to certain people. They do the job, and they return back part of that money for that contract to certain individuals. And the people doing the contract is trying to cut corners so that they can end up with something in their pocket. Who cares about the road? Somebody will come and fix it afterwards when it's needed, and that's the way they operate. So, it's crazy. I mean, it's so crazy.
It's so sad, guys.
And chancy.
Greg, I'm glad that you brought that up. Yeah, right. But it's so sad to see how a monopoly works. My biggest problem with that is what will happen to the small little bus owners who
they'll be pressured out of business, sir.
Yeah, who depend on putting their bus on the road, getting their passenger, and the little money they get for that day, feed their family and educate their children and have their buses maintained, right? and that's their way of living for many years. And suddenly that might sweep from under their feet. So
They will write them out of existence by law.
yes. So in the UDP, you see what they did with some of the bus owners and denying them some because they were PUP. They denied them permits, and we could remember all the saga that went on that. And now the UDP is doing pretty much. I mean, the PUP is doing the same thing, right? And
It's a little different,
Greg and
Mr.
Leonard,
Chairman. It's
who
a
are the
little different
ones,
in the sense that the PUP are trying to capture the whole industry
yeah,
under a privatization led by government powers.
yes, sir.
And when they write those rules and regulations and they capture the industry, they turn around and have to, under the IMF rules and regulations, the government cannot have private um, entities that's money making. They got to sell it to some private people. And when the government, whether it's a UDP government comes in afterwards or another PUP government comes, they will still need money because the economy of the country is not vibrant anymore. The tourism is starting to fall apart. A
So
lot of other problems.
yeah, so you hear the Zabani guy says, well, so many people, so many Botswanas had signed up. Who are these people and how they were signed up? What was promised to them? And so many didn't sign up. So, like you say, politics, right? But at the end of the day, at the expense of the commuters, right? At the expense of the commuters, right? And again,
Well,
I urge the PUP government to consider these small little bus owners that makes their living, their
yeah,
daily living on
they don't
running their
care.
bus, whether it's all new or half new or brand new or whatever, or used or unused, right? They put their buses on the road. Greg?
Mr. Chairman, it will not go away. We are finding the same thing trying to start in Belmopan. We brought that up on the
Yeah,
show.
brought that up. Yeah, yeah, we
Let's
sure
look
did.
at the Rutamaya rate. They are turning it into a money thing. So it's nothing new in what they are trying to do.
They're running the taxis them in Belopan into the ground right now. That's the new effort with the new buses that they're trying to bring there. And then they're doing the same thing in Belize too. The taxis in
It,
Belize will become
it,
a dinosaur soon.
Mr. Brackett, it's not even about the buses going there. It's about this, sir.
We have developed and are scheduled to start testing an Uber style taxi service for Belmopan where only registered taxis would be listed. It would also be it was also designed with a Belizean culture touch where the Belizean residents can still have their 4 or 5 preferred taxi operators that would always be their first hit if they are already occupied or
So there we go, another monopoly. If you're not registered under the Uber service, you are stands alone.
Which is privatized. It's a private entity
Exactly.
they're creating. They're just taking away whatever money making schemes that the local Belizean survivors offer for them to be able to make the money. And the Belizean bus drivers the bus owners them will make no money because the bus owners will have to put people to drive the new buses that they're getting, and those new buses will be controlled, and the income will be controlled by the new national bus service. Okay, it's not like they're giving these people some new buses for them to run as part of their original business.
Somebody,
That's not what it's all about. It's about taking away what Are
You
you
know
Mr.
what
Chairman?
needs to be
somebody,
drawn out, Mr.
somebody is
Chairman?
going to be rewarded, just like the council before this Kawich guy, right? They created a thing they call bositos.
Mr. Chairman,
Now this one come with Uber. Well,
let's
we'll
make it
see. Go
simple.
ahead.
In all these private public monopoly companies, we the people of Belize should ask them before we get into these, to let the private company display what they have financially. Because these private companies, like in this bus company that is formed,
That is.
they are coming in with no money at all.
Yes, so true on that.
Zero money. It will be financed by the bus owners who join and taxpayers' money. Zero from the private side.
And then they grab it away from them.
So Leonard, where we stand with time? I have a time issue
You're
on
there,
my.
sir.
Yeah, we're beyond. We are 10 minutes.
Okay.
No, we're 10 minutes
Leonard.
beyond the time. We're 10 minutes beyond
Leonard.
the time.
Yeah, you
10
want to
minutes
go for a
past.
closing,
Uh,
please?
I'll let you guys do the closing on your own
Okay.
individual right now, so as to shave the time because
Greg.
I'll leave that to you, Mr. Chairman.
Guys, it's a pleasure to sit in your company once more. And I hope that tonight's program, shed some more light, on those, who, listen to us, take away something from our program tonight and may it be beneficiary to our Belizean people, both at home and abroad. And always thanks to those who view us, Leonard, but,
Mr. Chairman, I wish the government would listen to what you have to say or what we have been saying here tonight and put some credence behind it, because what we have been speaking about here on this particular program tonight could bear some good results as compared to how they're trying to do it, the onerous way that they're trying to do it, because they're trying to swipe people bread out of their mouth, and that's not right.
Exactly. So on that note, we brought up some good issues that's affecting our Belizean people, and like you rightfully says, Leonard, we hope that the government would listen to the voice of the Belizean people, and do the right thing, and it'll be less problem, right? On that note, again, Greg, thanks for bracing us with show and tell. Always thank you for from their own lips. Again, thank you, Leonard, for your contribution to tonight's show, and look forward for Friday night program, Leonard. Where you have the constitutional Friday, and educate the people about the Constitution.
Thank you, Mr.
What
Chairman.
what the what they're seeing the government is doing, that if they are educated a little bit on the Constitution, they'll know that the government aren't doing the right thing, because the Constitution says something else of what they're seeing. So thank you for that. And Leonard, again, happy belated 16th birthday.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, and Mr. Egbert Greenwich, too, again, as Ms. Sharon Pitts has asked to wish you guys belated birthday. Greg, take it away.
Thank you very much, sir.
We want everybody. We